Hello and welcome to Die Rolling. I'm the ever excitable Adam. Cheers. And today we're going to be talking about the London pub crawl. So, I'm going to take a quick break now to show you all about the gameplay and stuff like that. So join me back here in just a moment. The London pub crawl. Here we have the London pub crawl. So you can see we have a version of London here, and we're essentially attempting to get to 3 different pubs, which are going to be on the underside of your pub cards. So let's take a quick look at some of these pubs. We've got the Ship and Anchor. We've got Merchant and Sheriff, and you can see up there it tells you which location you need to get to for that. So we'd have to get to Hoxton to visit the Merchant and Sheriff. So where is Hoxton? Hoxton. Boom, over there. The Coal House, the Princess of Tech, the Lamb and Fox. So the various different pubs you're going to go to, there's a ton of them in here. So to begin, you have to choose your pawn, and the pawns are all these lovely kind of bottle kind of colours here. And they recommend that you're drinking in this game. This is essentially a drinking game. Now, you could be drinking a cup of tea, a glass of refreshing ice cold milk. You could be drinking cider or beer or shots. This game is a very fun game to play with friends when you're drinking alcohol, but I can imagine it's also quite fun when you're just drinking regular drink. Now, to decide who the first player is, you're going to discuss amongst yourself who has spent the most time in London. Now, for people like me who don't live in London, that's not going to be so much of an issue. But you can imagine if you live in London and you're playing this game, that can be a long discussion. So as soon as you figure out who has been the player who's spent the most time in London, you're going to roll the dice. And you're going to place your game piece on the location that corresponds with the roll. So we got a 1, which means we'd be starting off in Battersea. Moving clockwise, the rest of the players will do this. So we got a 5, Demansey, and finally, number 2, Notting Hill. The starting player now draws a pub card. And if the location on the back of the card is the same as your starting place, you shuffle the card back into the deck and you draw again. So, player 1 has got the Blue Boar Inn, which is in Kensington, which is pretty good because it's right next to where we begin. Next, you have to take a crawl card. The crawl cards are the kind of the main part of this game, really. You have loads of these cards in here, and they do various different things. So, for instance, any players with dual citizenship or who can speak multiple languages can give out 1 sip. Now, I don't know whether toast counts as an additional language, but I speak fluent toast. You tried cutting through one of the royal parks but got lost along the way. Pick another player. You both missed your next turn trying to find the park exit. Now, roll the die, and this is the number of sips you each take during your missed turn. You've been shat on by a pigeon. Take 2 sips and look as upset as possible. I mean, it's lucky for some, not for the people who've been shat upon, though. Once you've got your pub crawl card, you'll roll the dice and you'll move that many spaces. As soon as you get to the location on the back of your pub card, you'll go, hey, I'm at the Blue Boar Inn. And you'll draw another pub card. This time, Viaduct 19, which is all the way down there. So it's quite a trek. And you'll essentially be going through this until you've got your 3 pub cards you've gone and visited. And then you can announce that you are the victor. Oh, you're back. Well, I hope you enjoyed that brief overview of the gameplay. Now, the London Pub Crawl is one of those games where if you are playing with other adults, you're probably going to want to have, a few drinks and stuff around. I mean, you don't have to, but it's something that, you're going to get more enjoyment out of this game if you are drinking. Sorry about that. Where were we? So, the London Pub Crawl is a really fun game to play with friends of an evening. It's not a game you necessarily have to drink for either. You could change the sipping to maybe taking a random jelly bean. Some of the jelly beans you bought the evening could be really tasty. Other ones could taste like dog food, like we did for our Chaos Cards sponsored Arkham Horror game. And, you can have a great time doing that as well, because it's one of those things where you know, when you are playing a drinking game, you're going to be taking drinks, and part of you wants to drink because you're enjoying the drink, and part of you does want to drink because you're like, I don't want to drink too much. So you can swap those things out for non-alcoholic options, like the jelly beans, for instance. It's a very simple game to learn and to play. You are just going to be picking up the crawl cards. You're going to be moving around with dice, and you're going to be going to 3 different pub locations. One thing that you can do as well is you can go up to 5 locations. You can really add some of the different variants at the end of the game can really add a lot to this game. So you could have the entire pub deck that you have to get through, or to a point where you're like, actually, we should probably stop playing this now because Steve is winning in the corner. Please stop, Steve. Or you could play in teams. This is definitely one that I can imagine some younger audience would enjoy. Not like the children, because come on. But I think students would really get a lot out of this. I think this is something you'll play with your friends at a board game cafe. Bring it along, or if it's there, that'd be great. At Christmas, this is also a good shout for a party. Basically, any adult party would work pretty well with this. Because you could have this out on the table, you could play this, you could get a little bit tipsy with some of this stuff, then you could go on to other games like Someone Has Died, or if you like Cards Against Humanity, this is another option that you could go into. So, is this a buy, play, or avoid for me? Now, the thing is, I don't especially normally like drinking games because, I don't know, I'd rather play one of my kind of heavier games that I've got behind me, but, you know, that's not for everybody. You've got to cater to the audience that are coming around to your house and playing. And we had an evening the other night with some friends who came around, and we played this, and it was great fun. It was a game where it kind of brought us a bit closer together. We were all learning stuff about each other. You know, stories came out as well from when they'd visited London, they'd gone to particular places, and it was definitely a conversation starter. So this is definitely a buy for me. It's a really fun game to play with friends. And it's definitely one that I would bring out at other social functions when I've got people coming around. So yeah, it's a buy from me. I highly recommend the London Pub Crawl. So please give those guys a follow on their social medias and check out their game when it comes out. I've been the ever excitable Adam, and throughout this I've been drinking soft drinks. So I hope you're not worried about me, you're not going to call anybody going, is he okay? But yeah, I hope I didn't offend anyone with my drinking in this kind of review. I was just trying to do something a little more light. But anyway, thank you for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe to our various different social medias. So that's our Instagram, our Facebook, and of course our YouTube. I've been the ever excitable Adam. Until next time, stay safe and keep rolling.